Good morning, everybody. Mr. Longo here, and we are going to start day 2 of this painting here, Sunset Pier. Today we'll focus on clouds, borders, reflections in the water, just that kind of stuff before we get to our actual pier, which we'll try and get into tomorrow. We're going to do dry brushing. That's the technique. That's my secret weapon when it comes to painting, dry brushing. And just working with some smaller brushes, smaller details, mixing colors. It'll be fun. Okay, so we're going to start by mixing a color. Let's just get our medium brush today. We're going to mix a pink. Okay, mix up a pink because it's like sunset. There's pinkish, purplish colors up in the sky. The clouds are having the sun reflect off of them. So we're going to mix a pink. You probably have some room in the center of your palette, if you're sitting here in my class, to mix some colors. So how do you make pink? White and red. And if you want to add a little sizzle to it, throw in a little purple. Okay? Mix up a good amount. Like, mix up more than you think you need, okay? Mix up more than you think you need, okay? And I'll do the same. So the color I gave you guys to use, I think, was called Fire Red. Okay, and let's just get that together and mix a little bit more than you need. I'm using my medium brush right this second. I'm just going to use it for mixing, then I'm going to go put it in the water because we'll use a different brush to actually paint it on, and I'll show you why. Okay, and if you want to, you can throw in a little yellow into it if you want to add a little bit of an orange flavor to it, or you can add some purple to it. Those are two colors I'd work with since they're so close in the color wheel. It'll just give it like a little extra sizzle, a little extra flavor. Okay, so I added some yellow to mine to have like a peachy color. Okay, get as much, so like kind of take your brush and twirl it on that color so you get as much of it off of your brush as you can. And I'm just going to drop that in the water for right now, okay? I don't need it right this second. I'm going to go for another brush. It can be your big one. We're going to do something called dry brushing. So when we were doing on wet, you might have seen some areas that look rough because you didn't have enough paint, okay? So we're really going to lean into that now, okay? We're not going to use a lot of paint because we want it to look rough. And the other nice thing about that is it dries super fast that way. So we can work another color over it and not have them mixed together, okay? So I'm going to get my brush here, and these are clouds. As long as they kind of sort of look like clouds that are going in the direction clouds are going, you're doing fine, okay? You may not do exactly what I do. All right, so again, I'm just getting some of that on my brush. I'm not loading it like I would have last week. I got some on my brush, and just going to work gently because I don't want to go back and like have to repaint any of this. Okay, so we're working it over it. All right, so I'm going to work some of it, and I'm just going to barely gently touch my canvas, and I'm going a little bit diagonal horizontally, and you see some of the yellow and the white behind it. That's a good thing. So you don't want to use a ton of paint. You guys are learning. If you're making mistakes, that's totally fine as long as you're giving it a whirl, okay? Some of you will like get it and run with it. Some of you need to do it a few times, and that's what we're doing right now, okay? So I'm just kind of gently working it over. I do want to see some of that yellow underneath. I want to see some of that roughness, okay? That's good stuff. I'll work another cloud there. Still just going horizontal. Don't overthink it. It's a cloud, okay? It's a cloud. Work some of that up here. And it makes a real nice color working over that green and blue. Okay. But you barely, just a little touch. If you do a little more, it just shows up more pink. That's okay. That's totally fine. All right. So I think we're going to do 3 colors for our clouds. I think that'll do it. I'm just going to work it right across this streak here. It's also good for hiding things. Let's say you feel like you did a lousy job on the wet blending. Well, why don't you use the cloud and work right over that seam and hide it a little bit. That's a good idea. Okay. So I'm going to work it right across this seam here. Not that I think I did bad, it's just, you know, a little example. So I got some pink work in there. Looks pretty good. Looks very peachy. Still just not a lot of paint doing the dry brush. I'm going to work some right here too. Okay. And I'm going to fatten this one up a little bit. I really like how that's looking with the pink over it. We can also grab just a little bit of white too. So I'm not even gonna clean my brush. I'm just gonna take a teeny tiny bit of white, maybe just, again, not a lot, not a lot. You want it to dry fast. Looks like I got a little black in there. That's gonna be all right. And I'm just gonna work some of that in there too. Maybe like right there. I'm gonna work the white on the underside of the cloud. Okay, so I'm not gonna go to the top. I'm just gonna go to the under, and it'll just kind of punch it out a little bit better. Okay, so right down here, got a little more than I needed there, but that's okay. I'll just move it around. So I'm going to work a little light underneath so it looks like a light pink. Okay, like that. A little bit of light underneath. Again, if I'm confusing you, go back or pause, you know. Totally understandable. I'm a very confusing person. I know this about myself. Okay. And it's Monday morning, but this stuff fires me. I like what I do. I like what I do. I like making beautiful things. Works for me. Okay. Some people dance. I paint. Okay. Now, it also takes a little bit of the roughness off if you're not feeling that as much. If you feel like it's too rough, adding that white over top gets a teeny little blend on there. I got a little black in my paint. I'm just going to pay that no mind and just work it over. And I think I got a little room for a little more pink cloud there. So I'm going to work a little bit in the center, stretch this out a little bit more. There we go. Any ugly seams there, you can kind of close them up. There wouldn't be any clouds below the sea unless it's like a very foggy day, so you want to keep it all in the sky. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Nice. All right, I'm not even going to clean my brush. We're going to do the same thing with purple. So like it was pink, and then we worked white underneath, and we're going to work purple on top. Okay. And I'm going to use some purple in spots where I didn't use the pink, and it'll look good. Again, just keep it light and airy. Don't press too hard. Don't use too much. Okay. Like don't like press down like crazy with your brush. You just want to glide this across. Don't use too much paint. You can always use more. It's hard to use less though after you've already used more. So I'm going to work right here. I'm going to work some more on there. I'm just going to sweep it across. I'll use a little more paint than that. Okay. I'm using my fat brush. If you feel like it's just too clunky, you can go for your littler brushes. Okay. And it's a little, you know, what you're able to see through. That's a good thing. Okay. I'm going to work a little bit more there. There we go. Actually, I am going to go with a smaller brush now. I just think it'll look nicer. Plenty of water, plenty of cups, plenty of paper towels. All right. Okay, so we're just working purple right now. This will take a little while. Okay, just gonna work it into some spots there. Yeah, I like that better. It's a little more controlled with this flat brush. There's the round brushes, there's the flat brushes. Experiment with them both. But again, this is another way of blending called dry brushing, where you can see the other color underneath, and that's good stuff. Okay, we might go back to that. I'm just going to get everything filled out here. Clouds. And maybe I'll just go with a heavier area every now and then and load up my brush a bit and do a heavier area, especially up here if I really want to see that purple later. So there we go. Okay. There we go. Happy clouds. Happy waves. Okay. And again, just, learn a little bit about control and pressure. Who's painting? You or the brush? You. So time to get in control of it. Okay. Okay. I see this all in my reference picture. I'm seeing this like kind of just purple zigzag going here. So I'm just going to kind of just left, right, just kind of get that going like that. And I think I did a little too light, so I'll work it over again. And if you're not feeling the roughness, then that means you're using too little paint. You can work in some more. Okay. But I think it looks pretty decent. Pretty airy. You could even use a touch of water before you hit your paint if you feel like that'll make a difference. Definitely don't try and do something perfect. I mean, clouds aren't perfect. Okay, let's go a little bit here, right above that. Yeah, I like this a lot better with the flat brush, but they'll both work. Okay. All right, let's see. We don't want to go down too far there because that's kind of like, well, just kind of like a twilight thing. Looking at this, there are a couple of faraway clouds too, so we'll just pop those in. They could even be birds for all I know. Just over here, I'm just going to pop in a couple just quick ones. Okay. Can be kind of a wavy kind of shape. Just a little something. Just like, bam, just like that. Okay. So these are way far back. Way far back. Okay. Trying to create a little illusion of depth. Okay. I'm seeing this big one here on my reference, so I'll just go with it. Okay. Far away. Okay. And a couple other little ones. Don't think too hard on it. Just go horizontal. And try not to do the same thing twice. Okay? If you try and do the same thing twice, it's going to be, it looks predictable. Okay? So some can be a lot smaller than others, some can be fainter, some can be darker. Makes it look less predictable. Life is not predictable. Okay? At least a life worth living. Okay. Work some purple over the purple just to get it punched out a little bit in certain spots. We'll see how this looks when it dries. Okay. If you're going to use a little water too, just keep in mind this is going to happen. It's going to probably turn out way lighter than you figured it would. Okay. So I wouldn't use a ton of water. Throw a little bit there too. Okay. We're just going to do a little more over here, just get it a little pillowier. Then I'm moving on to the sea. Okay. So I don't know if I'm feeling that roughness as much as I did a few minutes ago. So let me add a little bit of water and just try and get something going. Maybe I'll work some pink over that to kind of kill it off a little bit. So it's okay to make a mistake or do something you didn't want to do. Just got to figure out a way to fix it sometimes. So I'm just going to work some more pink over it because I think that purple's a little too much. All right, so still got some pink here. Work some of this purple right over it, pink right over it. And again, with the dry brush, it's dry. It dries super quick, and that's a great thing because then you can work something else over it right away. You can make a new color, all kinds of good stuff. We'll use our littlest brush for this next part, probably. I think go with a pinch of white too. White going there too. there's going to be something we're going to put here. So even if you're not like, oh, you did better than me. Okay, so if you're not feeling like super happy about the left side, don't sweat it. We're working something over it. You won't even notice. Your audience won't notice. Okay, it's just good to have something there. And it's better to put it there now than later after we put in that last thing we're going to do. Okay, you have an opportunity right now to work on any borders you might want to clean up a little bit. You don't have to go super nuts with that. What we can do just a touch of dry brushing too. I'm just going to take the blue and I'm going to take a little bit of it and I'm going to use my medium brush and I'm just going to try and sort this out just a little bit, okay? Like your blues and purples, don't have to go nuts, doesn't have to look super clean. It could be a little rough, okay? But just work some of your borders out. So we'll work our way down and then we're going to do a reflection in the sea and then we're going to do some little white waves, okay? That's how we're going to wrap up today. See? Yeah, I think we got it. So I'm just going to take this and again, doesn't have to be super perfect, but it can probably get a little better than it was. And just going to sweep it across. You can think of it like working a broom, if that makes sense with you. Like you don't have to do one long streak. You can do little brushes at a time, okay? If you do one long streak with a broom and you're sweeping the floor, you're not catching everything. If you do little sweeps, you're more likely to catch more. Okay, so little sweeps will actually take care of more. So it's starting to transition more into the purple. Time to get some purple dry brush going. If you see any funkiness or anything left over from last time where you didn't get the two colors to meet up, I didn't. That's what right now is for. All right. Okay, cleaning this brush. I'm just going to go with my small brush here. We'll make this nice and fast. We're just going to do a reflection on this left side here. We're going to use white, and if you're feeling it, a little bit of yellow too. So I'll work the white first, and then I'll work the yellow. Okay, so we're going to do a little reflection there, like the sun, okay, like something like some light reflecting. I'm going to use my littlest brush, and I might even graduate up to my medium flat brush if it doesn't show up well enough. You can load this if you want to, so we can get some wet paint on there. And we're just going to do some streaks. We'll start it like about midway here, okay? And we're just going to do some just left to right, right to left, just, okay? Okay, and you can work some over it. It's kind of like the light's reflecting. If you feel like it's really rough, add a pinch of water to it, and it should get your edges looking a little better. Okay, it doesn't have to be super neat, super clean. Okay, so I'm just doing some zigzag there. I'm gonna add some more in the middle, so it's kind of a little bit thicker in the middle here, like this. And that's why we'll work some yellow into it too. It'll give it a little more body. Okay. Pinch of water. Some color here. All right. I think I should have went with my bigger brush, but I'll make it work. And as it gets closer to the shoreline, it can kind of break up a little bit. Okay. Can even kind of expand out, but it doesn't have to be totally together as much anymore. All right, I'm gonna work some yellow over that. I think it'll look really good. I don't have a lot of yellow left, but I got it. A little yellow, a little white, make a light yellow. More white than yellow. I don't want it to like be overwhelming, but that's at least you know what color the thing is that's reflecting. Okay. I definitely think this will be something I go back to because I'm not digging the roughness right now. But that's okay. Let's just go with it. Maybe I'll work some more blue over it later. You can always go back on this stuff. You can just throw in there, throw in there, a little bit of that yellow. Okay. We're even going to we're throwing something over here. So again, if you feel like there's a little goof up or something, don't worry about it. We're going to be working some dark stuff in there tomorrow that'll cover up and it'll be nice and dry. So better just get something down. Okay. I'm going to take it all the way to the shoreline. And then we'll do our last thing, which will just be one brush, nice and easy. Yeah, some of this I'm not digging right now. I think some of it's a little too dark, so when I get back into it tomorrow, I'm going to use some blue. And I'm going to dull it out, okay? So we can always work some blue over it tomorrow, dry brush over it if it's too heavy, okay? Yeah, this is not my favorite part so far. All right, let's just move on. We can work it a little more later when it's dry. All right, I'm just going to get my big brush. We're going to work the line from the shore to the sea. We're just going to use a bit of white. We're going to dry brush it. It's going to look a little bit like waves hitting. Okay? So let me get that dry brush going. I'm going to move this out of the way so I got some room. All right, got my white. Don't have too much of it on the brush. We're going to do some dry brush. Wrap this up. And I got kind of a rounder brush because I'm just going to I'm going to move, but I'm also going to poke at it like this. So I'm just going to go across this line. Okay, so we're going to camo that. Not too much paint. Okay, definitely start with less, especially if you're not feeling super confident right now. So I'm just going to work over that line. You're going to see a little bit through it for starters. You can poke at it a bit to make it look a little bit more wavy. Okay, like waves crashing on the beach. Okay. Start with less. Start with less. If you feel like you use too little, you can always go back, okay? There we go. And not starting with the whole ton. Again, some spots, again, I'm just kind of poking at it. In other spots, I'm just kind of going left to right like I would have. You can see some of the purple underneath it. You can see some of the brown underneath it. You can work it over if you feel like you got to work it over. Feel real good about that part. Okay. If you feel like it got too light, you can work some of that brown from the underneath. Okay. If you feel like you got it too light. Okay. Now, I think what we were doing today, again, the dry brushing, but also about just how much paint do you actually have to use at a time? How much pressure do you got to put on it to get what you want to get out of it? Okay. I've never painted this before. I had a couple hiccups, I can definitely tell. But I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not throwing this out. I'm going to work on it when it's dry. Okay? If I feel like I did a little too much there, so I'm going to grab some blue next time when it's dry, and I'm going to work over some of that. Okay? And life will go on. Okay? So I think that'll do it for today. Tomorrow, we're going to put the pier in Sunset Pier. Okay? So that'll do it for this video. Have a great day, everybody. See you later.